Hello everyone. In the previous session, we learned about pitch deck slide design. In other words, how to create a pitch deck from a visual perspective. Even if the content is good, it is meaningless if it cannot be properly conveyed to the person whom you are pitching to. So please master how to design your pitch slides properly. Now, in this session, I will explain another aspect of communication, which is the tips for how to speak. You need to make a good impression on the person whom you are pitching to, both visually and audibly. Before that, however, let us check the answers to the mini quiz in the previous session. First, the answer to question 1. What are the 3 points to keep in mind when you prepare your pitching slides? They are legible, simple, and obvious. Next, the answers to question 2. What color should you use in your text? They are primary colors or black. Finally, the answers to question 3. What are the 4 things that you need to avoid? They are too much text, pictures or graphs without headings, animations, and unnecessary jokes. Please make sure to understand these points and create your slides so that you can take advantage of the pitching opportunity that you have been given. Now, let us move on to today's main topic, the speaking technique. First and foremost, you need to understand your audience. Find out as much information as possible in advance, such as who the person you are about to pitch to is, what their position is, and whether the meeting will be one-on-one, a small group, or in a large group. The first step to success is knowing who you are speaking to. Based on that, I shall explain 5 important points from the language aspect. Enthusiasm, don't speak too fast, no preamble, take pauses appropriately, as well as confidence. I will explain them in order. First, pitch with enthusiasm. Speaking about your business with passion is the most basic of basics. It will be difficult to get investors excited if you speak as if you are reading from a pre-written script. Show your passion for your business in the way that you speak. However, if you get too excited, you may start talking too fast. You need to stay calm. Investors have received pitches from many other startups besides you. So they have to process more information than you think. Therefore, make a conscious effort to speak slowly so that they can digest what you are saying at the same speed as you are speaking. Also, avoid unnecessary preamble. Please say directly what you need to communicate. There is a difference between speaking slowly and spending time by talking about unnecessary things before you get to the point. Please focus on key points without using analogies that have little connection to the essence of your pitch. Also, please take pauses appropriately. Do not talk from the beginning to the end like a machine gun without any pauses. Pauses will keep your audiences paying attention to your pitch and make it easier for them to understand what you are communicating. At the same time, you can also use pauses to add flavor to your story. And above all, speak with confidence. If you sound anxious, no one will be attracted to your startup and will want to invest in it. Practice until you can speak with confidence. It is important to practice just by yourself, but make sure to also practice speaking in public. You can ask your friends or your family to be your audience. Speaking in front of people can make you more nervous than you think. In addition to asking for help from those around you, it will be effective to participate in small-scale pitching competitions for practice and get used to speaking in front of the audience. Next, I would like to list 3 points regarding the non-verbal aspects: natural demeanor, eye contact, and a smile. I will explain in order. First of all, try to behave in a natural manner. There are some differences between pitching to a small group of people in a meeting room and pitching to a large audience from a podium at a pitching contest. But in both situations, you are standing up while presenting, and in most cases, the audience is sitting down. You do not want to get too nervous and move clumsily like a robot. Also, it's not a good idea to make unnaturally exaggerated gestures or run around the meeting room or stage from end to end. This pitch is not a theater recital. Imagine the situation where you will be pitching and practice in a similar environment beforehand as much as possible. The way that you move and speak naturally will make your audience comfortable during your pitch. Next is eye contact. Make sure that you always face the audience when speaking. Avoid talking only by looking at the slides. If you have practiced enough beforehand, you should know the flow of your slides and the points that you will be talking about. As a general rule, make eye contact with the audience when speaking, except when switching slides or when talking about graphs that you want to emphasize. And don't forget to smile. Smiling during your pitch not only makes you look relaxed and confident, but it actually makes you feel relaxed and confident. Above all, if you compare a person with a blunt face and a person with a smile, it goes without saying which one you will like better. So who on your team should speak during the pitch? Don't hesitate to select the person who is the best at presenting. Even if there are co-founders, it's best to avoid taking turns pitching. Changing speakers within a short period of time is a bad idea. This is especially true if you need to pitch in a language other than your native language. A while back, at a pitching contest that I participated in as one of the judges, a Western investor provided an interesting feedback to a startup. His feedback was, the content was okay, but you might want to assign someone in your team who is good at presenting in English. If everyone in your team has limited English capability, there is no harm to hire someone for pitching purposes. I think it was a very reasonable advice. This startup was from a developing country in Southeast Asia, and although the problems that they were tackling was extremely important, the English they spoke certainly made it very difficult to understand. Although pitching is not an English speech contest, I think it would be a good idea to consider, as the amount of time is very limited. I have explained the key points of speaking from both the verbal and non-verbal aspects. But the most important thing is to tell your story with passion. Every startup has its own founding story, specifically what problem they would like to solve. Please focus on this point and learn the speaking techniques to know how to convey it effectively. Now, as usual, let us take a mini quiz. The first question is, what are 5 key points in terms of verbal aspects? The second question is, what are the 3 key points in terms of non-verbal aspects? And for the third question, who will make the presentation in your team? Please review this video lecture on your own and prepare your answers before the next session. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.